Title, Grave Intentions. It was a warm autumn night in 1999, and the 6 of them stood at the rusted, iron gate of Holloway Cemetery, whispering like a storm was coming. The gate groaned open with a sound that echoed off the marble headstones like the call of some sleeping thing. No one in Holloway ever dared enter the cemetery after sundown, except these 6. There was Leo, the de facto leader with a sharp jaw and sharper grin. Maddie, his twin sister, quiet and ghost-eyed. Reggie, the class clown who used jokes to hide his fear. Zara, fierce and always wearing black like mourning, was a fashion statement. Elijah, lanky and clever with a camera always hanging from his neck. And Sasha, whose heart was too soft for horror but too loyal to say no. It was Reggie's idea, of course. "Let's play the grave game," he'd said, laughing like it wasn't serious. But Holloway had rules. And this wasn't just a game. They stepped onto the gravel path between the ancient graves, lit only by the moon and the flickering flame of a single lantern Elijah brought, for ambience. "All right," Leo said. "You all know the rules. No salt circles, no protective charms, and definitely no chickening out." Reggie added with a grin, nudging Sasha. Sasha managed a shaky smile. "Remind me why we're doing this again." Maddie finally spoke. "Because the Holloway grave game grants a wish, but only one. And the rest pay a price." Zara finished, her eyes unreadable. "The legend went like this: 6 enter. One makes the wish, and the cemetery decides who gets what. Sometimes no one left. Sometimes only bones did. Still, they laid out the circle. 6 black candles, 1 per person. In the center, a polished coin dug from the oldest grave, said to be cursed with the souls of 100 liars. The coin of Holloway. Leo lit the candles, one by one. With each flame, the wind hushed. The air thickened. He placed the coin in the center and said the line they'd rehearsed. "O Holloway, we call to thee, 6 souls bound in mystery. Choose the heart that holds the need. Let their darkest wish be freed." Silence. Then the candle in front of Maddie flared high, then died. Everyone froze. The coin moved. Sasha let out a small gasp. Did someone blow on it? No wind. Elijah whispered. That was real. The coin spun, faster and faster in the center, then suddenly stopped, pointing toward Maddie. Her expression didn't change. "It's me?" "No," Leo barked. "No way. You didn't even want to come." Maddie looked down at the coin. "But I need to." No one asked why. The rules were clear. Only the chosen could speak their wish aloud, and only the cemetery would judge its worth. She knelt, picked up the coin with trembling fingers, and whispered her wish. No one heard it but the dead. The world shifted. The shadows deepened, stretching like claws. The ground beneath their feet pulsed. The graves seemed to breathe. Then came the whispers, faint like wind through hollow bones. Then louder, liars, thieves, cowards, beggars. Zara clutched Reggie's arm. What the hell is happening? But Elijah raised his camera. It wouldn't turn on. Leo shouted, "We didn't agree to this!" But the game had begun. The candles flickered violently. One by one, they went out. Maddie fell to her knees. "It's taking us? Who is?" But before anyone could answer, the ground beneath them gave way. Each fell into darkness. Sasha landed softly, oddly gently. She was no longer in the cemetery, but in a bedroom from her childhood. The wallpaper was yellow with tiny blue stars. Her mother's perfume lingered in the air. A lullaby played, but her mother had died 3 years ago. She moved toward the bed, and saw something in the covers. A pale hand. She reached out, then stopped. The voice that came from under the sheets wasn't her mother's. You wish to hold on to the past. Would you trade your future for it? She turned and ran. Reggie woke in a school hallway lit with green emergency lights. Lockers slammed open and shut. Echoes of laughter bounced off the walls. His voice, recorded from 100 cruel jokes made at others' expense. One by one, those he'd mocked stepped out from the shadows, eyes hollow. Do you laugh to hide the truth, or to bury it? He didn't answer. He cried. Zara found herself back at her brother's grave, the real one. He'd died in a car crash last year. Her parents had never been the same. He stood now, looking at her, as real as the day he was buried. If you could have traded places with me, would you have? She reached out to touch him, but he dissolved into ash. Leo stood in front of a mirror that stretched on forever. Inside the mirror were versions of himself, some smiling, some screaming, some bleeding. You lead because you're afraid to follow, one version said, but you never know where you're going. The glass cracked. Elijah faced the grave of a child, a small tombstone with no name. He raised his camera to take a photo. But the camera showed not the grave but him, standing alone. Why do you watch but never act? Why do you observe pain instead of stopping it? He dropped the camera, and Maddie stood in the middle of the cemetery again. Only now it was full. Hundreds of people stood, surrounding her. Transparent, pale, broken. You wish to bring something back, one said. But what will you give in return? I'll give anything, she whispered. Take me, if you have to. Just let him live. The dead nodded. The ground split. And suddenly all 6 were together again. The sky was lightening with dawn. They stood in a perfect circle where the candles had once been, now melted down to wax puddles. The coin lay in the center. Still, cold, done. Leo rushed to Maddie. What did you do? Maddie looked at her brother, eyes brimming. I wished for him back. Who? Sasha asked. Our brother? Leo said softly. Jamie. He died when we were 9. Reggie said. You mean the kid that fell in the lake? Maddie nodded. He was 5. Leo added. We were supposed to be watching him. There was silence, then a rustling sound. From the edge of the graveyard, a figure approached. A boy, golden-haired, muddy-kneed, holding a frog in his tiny hands like a trophy. Elijah, Maddie, yo! Look what I caught! Leo gasped. Maddie fell to her knees. It was Jamie. Alive. They left the cemetery that morning with Jamie between them, none daring to question the logic of it. The coin was gone. The cemetery had taken its price, but not in blood. It had taken their truths, their guilt, their fears. But it gave something back, too, a miracle. As they walked out of Holloway, the sun broke over the trees, bathing the ground in gold. Zara took Reggie's hand. Elijah smiled for the first time in months. Sasha looked up and whispered a thank you to someone she'd lost long ago. They never spoke of the game again. But every year, on the same night, they met at Leo and Maddie's house. Jamie, now growing up, never remembered the night at the graveyard. And they never told him, because some wishes come true not because of magic, but because of love. And sometimes the dead are kind. THEEND